that's within me. Bless his holy name. I'm going to first start off thanking everybody that comes and watch my videos and that likes my videos. And that have subscribed to my channel. I want to say thank you so much. And to let you know, I really honestly appreciate you all watching my videos. I appreciate you all, taking the time to like. I know a lot of times y'all don't like the video, but I just appreciate also just y'all watching. But if you can, give me a like. It doesn't matter whether it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. It doesn't matter. It's just about the like, liking the video. So I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to say this here. I want to tell y'all something that's very important. When y'all in a relationship, and because things that I went through, I had to go through it for teaching, where I can help other people, you know, uh, how to identify different things in a relationship, like a person cheating, a person lying, a person being deceitful. Mainly when you're dealing with a narcissist, um, because a lot of times what people don't understand, it's a lot of these different people that you deal with when you call them a narcissist, or say a person has schizophrenia or bipolar. What it is, they'll give them medicine to suppress it, but it's still there. That schizophrenia is still there because they don't take that medicine to suppress them demons. Then guess what? It's gonna come back out. But everybody take medicine. They like medicine cure you. Medicine do not cure you. Period. It's just a pharmaceutical. That's their way of making money off of you. And the health department, the doctors and stuff like that, they wrapped up into that too because they get a kickback from the pharmaceutical for every medicine that every prescription they write. They get money back from that. It's just a money market. And a lot of diagnosis that they giving you not true. It's natural ways that you can, bring your blood pressure down. Natural ways you can deal with your diabetes. Y'all need to understand what diabetes is. Go look it up to see what it is, and then that way you'll be able to work it out naturally, because see, the body is made to heal itself. Because how I know, I was poisoned by my husband, and God healed me. Um, and he would put things in my drink and food over the years, where I had gained a lot of weight, but I can figure out why I had gained weight, because he was putting stuff in my drink or my food or whatever. That's how corrupt he was, and still is today. But his corruption is coming to an end. And I just wanted to say that, people, y'all just be careful. Don't be taking all the, like they take this cholesterol medicine. Oh, I'm going to give you high blood pressure medicine. I'm going to give you fluid medicine, all this stuff. And these are natural ways to bring that stuff down. And this is a lot of the area that I am moving into, the dealing with herbs, to treat. And see, you got to remember, in the Bible it said the leaves, the herbs for the healing of the nation. That a lot of herbs are healing because, number one, you don't have all of them chemicals on them. That's why I can't talk about it because I can't go in depths about it. The reason I can't go in depths about it because I have people that come work in witchcraft to try to prevent me from moving forth and what I'm doing, first business wise, because of jealousy, you know, um, people that's in competition, but I'm not in competition, one side of competition, because, jealousy and mistreated debate, all those evil, wicked things, that people go through when they wasting all their time. They could do their own business or do whatever. But, one thing people don't realize, you can't be doing something fake or fraudulent or illegal and think that's going to prosper. It's going to go but so long. But see, this year, God is not going to allow that to happen. This year is the end of all of that stuff. A lot of behind the scenes, a lot of people don't know about. But a lot of these people, organizations coming down this year, not next year, this year. Um, I decree and declare it is so. Right? Take this, like I say, write the date down, write the time down, and write down what I say, and you will see it come to pass. I just want to say, too, that people got to realize, I see a lot of people come after somebody that's husband, wife, or boyfriend, or girlfriend, because they'll think that person got all this or got all that, and they be trying to impress other people, but they don't have all that. But they'll pretend like they do. And they'll spend money, like they do have all that because they're using credit cards. And, a lot of, because people doing fraud, they'll use other people's credit cards as well to make themselves look like they okay. For good experience, like with me, and Donald. I try not to refer to him as my husband, but first I know we're supposed to be still married. So, what I want to say, like with him, because people saw us together, thought he was a good father, a good provider, take care of everything, and that was not so. Just because he was working a job and doing other stuff, illegal stuff on the side. This what people do. They'll do illegal stuff on the side and have a little work for a company or whatever, but still they doing illegal activities on the side. But actually, the legal activities be bigger than the regular work job. But they'll pretend like they going to work, like they've been working all that time, and they were doing other stuff. Um, but that's okay. That was part of my test, so I'm okay with that because it's like once you know your purpose, once you know you serving God, the real living God. Um, because people serve many gods. And I'm make me think about like my daughter Lisa. The experience my daughter Lisa had when she was little. We was in church. Um, and the experience she had in church, and even with her father, was so devastating. Um, the things that were done. Watching him go to church and the things he was doing outside of church, in the home. Um, it got her so to a place that she don't want to have nothing to do with God. That's because of her father, the way he lived, things he was doing to her, and then going in the so-called, well, it wasn't a church, it was a convent. It was they have the church fronts, and they doing this today. They have the church fronts like they these holy and thou people, and behind the scene they the devil. They would do witchcraft. They abuse children. They sexually abuse children. They have these criminal backgrounds. They do crime rings because they connected to the police. They connected to lawyers and judges because they all doing this together. I'm telling y'all, it's just so much tied into it. You know, um, and then they sacrifice people. They murder people, uh, for insurance policies. They murder people for sacrifice. But even though they sacrifice those people, they still got insurance policies on most of them. I'm not gonna say all of them, but I'm just saying, what I'm hearing. Um, because sometimes they end up, like going to a hotel. Might be call themselves having a threesome or whatever. A lot of times what they do, they're poison people or they're drug people. And they drug and rape people. This what these people do. Then they've been, this is another thing they do. They will overdose a person, give them enough stuff to overdose. And then they'll come in like the medical examiner say, they died of accidental overdose, but it don't be an accidental overdose. It's actually, it'd be a murder, but they'll cover it up. A homicide. They cover that up. This is what's going on. A lot of this is going on. And then even like with the shootings, because God made me, not made me, but God said bring this up. Even like the different shootings going on and stuff. A lot of those people are MK Ultra. They're mind control. This is why I don't like the school system. The school system are programming the children's mind. The children not learning. And this is why I'm so against the school system. They program the kids. They bully, they pick out other kids, they fix their minds, and they become little bullies to other kids, and kids end up unaliving themselves, or kids end up coming to school shooting. Because see, remember, they work at MK Ultra on both the kids, not just one, on both of them. So the other child gets so enraged that the child start plotting to kill, because this is what on their mind. Because number one, listen, what I'm talking about, like for instance, like what happened with me, how that my husband, Donald, got together with other people, and money was paid. Uh, Money was exchanged for my death. I didn't get nobody, none of my children. I didn't get nobody permission to put life insurance policy on none of my kids. But like I said, my daughter Cammy, in September 2023, I was dead over again. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what lie he tried to twist. They tried to kill my daughter Cammy. Just so happened, I was behind her. And I'm a praying mother. Not just a praying mother, I have a position with God. So my position with God protected her. Protect all my children. They still work witchcraft. They still trying all kind of stuff, to work, to sacrifice. It's all about the insurance. It's all about the money. Because see, right now they all in debt. So they got to find somebody they can kill, murder for insurance, so they can get their money, get some money to pay off their debt. They are literally in debt. So I'm saying this because see, I'm recording things. With me recording things, okay, I know they listen to me. This is why I say what I said. Whatever God tell me to say, I'm gonna say. I don't care about them hiding behind fake accounts, or hacking my devices, and we call remote. Is it remote viewing and stuff like that? They do that stuff. My own sister, that used to be in my face, always up in my face. But see, I knew her intentions. But see, she thought I didn't know them, but I did. I just went on, said what I wanted to say. Just didn't tell her everything. But whatever I spoke to her was the truth. But I just didn't give her the whole thing. I just gave her pieces, like crumbs. But the sad part about it is the outcome of everything. And this is what people don't understand, is that's why I was saying, and I told it to her too, in 2026, that people will be judged. People will be brought to justice. People going, not just jail, they're going to prison. Because the ones that, that were dealing with me and other people, like I said, I'm standing up not just for me. I'm standing up for people that they have murdered. you know, children they done raped, children they done impregnated, women that impregnated, he goes around and sleep with women and make like he gonna be a good husband, he want a wife, he want a relationship, but he's not stable because he don't love himself. He go from woman to woman, some of them get pregnant, guess what? He leave them. He not gonna stay with them because that's who he is. He may stay, fake it till he make it, and make plans with one person, like he gonna go out with, go all the way with that person, but he not. He gonna do the same thing. It's a cycle where he's going round the bend, never gonna get out this cycle, because what he doesn't want to do, no, the rest of these people, they don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to work on their imperfection. If you're going around killing people for money, with you. If you're going around scamming people, people say they crazy. No, they got demons. They got entities attached to them because, see, they do witchcraft. And when you do witchcraft, see, these people conjure up different demons from the underworld, which a lot of y'all don't know nothing because y'all not spiritual. So you're not going to understand what I'm saying because you're not spiritual. You have to be spiritual to understand everything I'm saying. So what I'm saying, a lot of you are not spiritual. But you all should, take time. Pray over your family, because your family, I've been telling y'all, year after year, pray over your children. Your children is the target. Like the special little kids, the ones that God, the chosen ones. They are trying to get hold to the chosen ones. They marking these kids. They numbering these kids. Because, see, they want to use them kids for a sacrifice. They'll let some live, some they don't let live. Some they sacrifice. And a lot of things I can't explain on here. I can't talk about on here. A lot of things I have to teach, teach face to face, personally. But it's so much in depth, even with these Masons and the Eastern Star, the cartels, and it's another group I can't think of them, but it's related to the cartel. But these are ruthless people. They don't care about nobody. Like the person that call herself Donald with all this, all that. But then see, she found out he ain't all that, all this. He's dependent on, he gonna want some money. You got to get money, all this other stuff, because he act like he all of that, and he's not. Because I've been around him. I've been around him for 40 something years. So because people, they were saying she's you stupid, she this, but he never left home. So I was all that, but you never left home. You thought, like setting up having babies by different women and all this stuff. Like that bothered me. That don't bother me because that's not my responsibility. I don't have to deal with those kids. I don't have to deal with none of them. Grandchild, he hiding that. Like I don't know nothing. So this how long, that's a sign of showing how long he's been cheating. And I've been saying something the whole time, but he's a gaslighter. He's a love bomber. Love bomber, they'll pretend like they love you. They don't love nobody because they don't love themselves. Donald Godfrey Meeks Sr. do not love nobody because he don't love himself. This is why he go from relationship. I ain't going to call it relationship. Situationship. Because he get with this person. He'll see, he have them one night stands. Where he sleep with somebody one night at a hotel, sleep with them in the car. He don't care where he hit it at. On the ground anyway. Because that's how dirty, that's what kind of person he is. He don't have no self-control. The other people dealing with, they the same way. All these people that in these little groups, they the same way. They decided, that these people decide they going to get money come together to try to unalive me for insurance policy. This is what they do. But then see the part about, like I said before, the part about me is this, y'all, is that they came after me over his lies, what he was saying about me, which everything he said about me was a lie. But he made, this is what he's been doing for years, is going around, turning everybody around me, turning them against me for years. And you notice people start acting funny with you, and you wonder why, because, these are people that I didn't treat nasty. I was not nasty to none of them. I was, real loving and everything to them, but, they loud. But y'all got to remember, this is all about witchcraft. They cast illusions over people. And when they cast those illusions over people, people go along follow them because, see, they don't know they're under witchcraft. They're under a spell, witchcraft spell. So when people don't know that they're under a spell, they're going to react that way. And which, I'm not offended by that because I know, these people was bewitched. They was lied to and deceived. But even though I know that, the bad part about all that is the people that believe, they going to get punished as well. But his punishment going to be worse because he started it. Him, my sister, and other people, like the other woman, that he was in a relationship situationship with, call himself a private, all the little hoes he slept with, he called a private relationship, even my sister, secret relationship. There wasn't no secret, none of that was secret, But, I just let them think, they was getting away with something. But it ain't bothered me none at all. Because, like I said before, I'm not jealous, but I have to speak my truth. I have to speak, what happened to me. Because by me speaking out, that can help somebody else, that this never happened to them. If I'm telling them about him and what kind of person he is. Now, I was planning on pulling up his picture because I do want to circulate his picture. Because that way people know who I'm talking about. And he gets on those, what you call dating sites and stuff, and I think they call it catfish. I think they say catfish or something like they'll put a picture on there, but then they'll lure people in, but it's not the person that's on the picture or whatever. I think that's what they were telling me. Because, see, I'm not familiar, like dating sites, I don't do this because I'm not a chase. I don't chase. Men that chase, they do those sites. But I don't do those. I ain't gonna say everybody chase. Some people honestly want a good person, good relationship. I don't kick nobody from using those, but I mean, I'm talking about the people that use them to manipulate and control other people's lives. And Don is very controlling. I'm gonna tell you that right now. He's very controlling. He want to control everything around you, everybody around you. So, and that's the same way with that little thing that he, whatever it is with it. So, but I do. I want to say I feel sorry, but then yet they brought that on themselves. But yet I do feel sorry for them because they were deceived as well. You work witchcraft to get somebody. That witchcraft. Okay, once I left, what happened? See, she was working witchcraft on him and me. She was doing the breakup spells, the love spell, to draw him to her. But see, all that's fake. The sex spells. So she was doing all that. So, once she get him, she have sex with him. She figured she had him hooked. But see, he never was really hooked because he still came home. But see, that was her little pea brain. And then, she got the part of the morphine. It came in my mind, but it didn't come out the tongue. It's a crime group. And, they didn't got all these folks, through the lies, her and him both lying. Through their lies, they got all these people involved. That's since I'm gonna tell you this from day one since they first started. She started herself doing the witchcraft and all this. Saw him, she wanted him because she saw, way me and him was together, but not realizing that she saw something about him that wasn't true. It was fake because he wore a mask just like she wore a mask. Um, and the thing about it is that the day that she started the witchcraft, she's got to pay for that. Whoever her mother, any family members got in on it, did the witchcraft, the occult doing the witchcraft, everybody that did the witchcraft, everybody that they went to that did the witchcraft, still are doing that, the dark practitioners. I don't care, over the world, wherever they went to. Some died. Some people died from this witchcraft. Um, Still them doing their research, they didn't do it. Um, by them not doing it, it was repercussion. The practitioners, it's gonna affect their families, everybody. Even though that practitioner might die, it's still gonna affect the family because what they did was against the spiritual laws. See, any type of spiritual work, you have spiritual laws you have to follow. You can't just do what you want to do. Just like we have natural laws, you have spiritual laws you have to follow. And um, the worst thing you could do is to work witchcraft on any of God's chosen people. Because when a person is chosen for a specific purpose on this earth, against them, you can look back at your life when you first started, or when you first started, like, oh, I'm gonna sleep with her husband. You can look back over your life and you can see the calamity or everything that happened in your life. That was because of what the decision you made, your own decision. Then oh, she doing witchcraft, she doing witchcraft, she doing witchcraft. If you all go to readers, if you would have went to the right reader would have told you she don't do witchcraft. She's against witchcraft. But see, y'all got with these fake people that lied to y'all, then everybody running with a lie. So guess what? Everybody affected. People have died, had accidents, freak accidents, car accidents, all kind of accidents have happened. Look at Donald. He what 2024? Yeah, 2024. He both his knees was out. He couldn't even walk. But you know what? But he didn't learn anything from it. Guess what? When he got better, he was going back doing the right same thing we were doing from the beginning. Still taking heed to that. But that was the last warning. He wasn't getting no more. So it's no more warning. No matter how much he prayed, even the rest of them, no matter how much they pray and stuff, God don't hear them because God's back is turned toward them. Because see what they did, you'll hear people, I didn't see these videos, I think on YouTube, and people be talking about how they were serving Satan, and then God saved them, and different things they were saying. But I'm gonna tell you this here. The Bible claims to tell you thou shalt not kill. That's what he tell you. And people say, well, God will forgive me from killing. But he said thou shalt not kill. That was one of his commandments, his law. You broke the law. You broke the spiritual law as well as the natural law. So what I'm saying is this, because you all started the war against me, which was an innocent person. I was falsely accused. You can't falsely accuse somebody, see, because that's in Book of Proverbs. It will tell you about falsely accusing people. About it's all over the Bible about falsely accusing people. When you go with something somebody said and you didn't research it to make sure what that person was saying was true. Because the thing about it, what the person was saying, what Donald was saying, everything was coming out of his mouth was things that he did, which I had no part of, because I'm number one is this here. If I can't help you, I'm not going to hurt you. But I will speak truth to you, whether you like it or not, because that's who I am. I'm a truth teller. And I can't side from that, because this is what I am. If you're a liar, you're a liar. So if my mom always said, lie, if they lie, they'll cheat. They cheat, they'll steal. That's what my mother always said. So this is what I'm saying. To all the ones that, that did what they did, I'm just trying to explain to y'all, because some of y'all act like y'all don't understand what's going on around y'all. See, the ones that watch me, you need to go back and tell the rest of the people what happened, what y'all did. The day y'all decide to come up against me with him, everybody that's dealing with him, everybody will sleep with him or not. Because, the gang stalking, the smear campaign, all that stuff. What I love about God? God ain't, I knew he was talking about behind my back, because, I saw that with him. I saw the two-faced. God let me see he was two-faced it. So I saw that. So whatever he did, it didn't bother me, because it wasn't me. So I don't have to worry about that. But then when God starts saying, now it's time for you to speak up, because I want your voice to be out here. I want you to tell your story. What happened to you, how that he isolated you, how that he treated you like you didn't exist. But yet he came home every night. But yet he lay in the bed with other women and talk about you like a dog, call you a bee, list called bees and all kind of stuff. But that's him. That's his trauma bond with people. It's all about trauma bond. He trauma bonds with his daughters because of what he did. He trauma bond with women because of what he did, because they jacked up too. So any woman attached to him, they jacked up like he is. Anybody attached to him, even take an accusation against me with him, they jacked up too. Everybody jacked up. All the little minions are jacked up as well. But people don't want to deal with their own self, their own issues. But, it's easy. Like Sunday went to the church and cried. Oh, my wife left me. But she, even, like the book you got, the gentleman gave you the book on, what is 101, Relationship 101? Which you need a book on Relationship 101. Why don't you just tell the people the truth that you hold the whole time you was married? You always had relationships outside our marriage. You always had what you call situationship, an extra whole relationship on the outside of the marriage, bunch of them. So it's like, and then children, don't care nothing about just dumb women have babies. They dumb as hell. That's why they have birth control. But they dumb enough to have a baby, and this person is not going to take care. If he's, okay, say for instance, he's in a situationship, what he called himself, y'all that made plans. We're gonna do all this together. We're gonna do all that together. We're gonna be together. We're gonna unalive her, and you're gonna have her gifts. God ain't gonna give no wicked person none of my gifts. See, that's what y'all don't realize. Well, we're going to make a family. We're going to build a house and we're going to do all this here, buy land and build a house. And we're going to have everything. We're going to live wealthy. All this stuff, off of somebody else's back. But y'all think y'all was going to get away with that. Did y'all really think that? Yeah, y'all did because y'all was that stupid. Y'all got them pea brains. Y'all on drugs. Y'all drunk, what you call alcoholics. I don't make fun of alcoholics. I have alcoholics in my family. And that's why I thank God every day that I wasn't a drinker at all when it comes to alcohol. And drugs, never did that neither. Not kicking the people that does drugs because I have compassion for the people. That's on alcohol. I have passion for the people that's on drugs. Because when I see people, young people on drugs and people have to bury their children because of drugs, I'm angry at the drug dealer. The people that produce these drugs. You got these med labs. They got med labs. They got drug labs as well. I don't know what, but I guess this is the first time I brought it up. But they have drug labs. They make drugs as well. So you all, this is stuff, as God give me things that I'll bring them out. They do all this stuff. They don't care about nobody because they don't care about themselves. Anytime you put drugs on, smoking cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, you put that in your body, you don't love yourself. You abusing your body. You know, to think about living in a house with somebody, they trying to poison you to death, poison you to death, giving you other stuff in your food to make you fat, all kind of stuff. Work witchcraft, trying to make your hair fall out, all kind of stuff. This is stuff they do because of jealousy. It's all about jealousy. And y'all, I can't, in my mind, in my heart, I can't explain jealousy to you because I never had it. You know, uh, and it's sad when I see this, it just, it breaks my heart that people would go to this level of jealousy to kill somebody. Because they think they're gonna have what that person have. Or I want a husband. I'm gonna kill her. Me, I'm gonna get a husband. Kill her, get a husband. But yet, the funny part about all this here, they do all that and they still don't have the person. The person still running around. Person doing things. Some of them he get with. Oh, you can have a relationship outside of. They okay with. Okay, he married. He or she married, but then have these side relationships, and they okay with that. No, I'm not okay with that. Only reason I stayed with him because I had to work out ministry, my mission. I don't want to call it ministry. I want to call it my mission because I don't think it should be related to ministry because of the stigma on ministries right now, the stigma on the churches right now because of the corruption is so bad. I don't want to associate with that. This is what I'm doing. I'm unassociating with demon work, the devil's work. So, I just want to say, guys, love yourself. Don't allow nobody to talk about somebody to you. If a person living with a person, they talk about that person. They go home to that person every night, every day. And you ignorant enough to believe what they say. You just as ignorant they are. Because see, sometimes people so ignorant, they think they smart, but they ignorant. So, I just want to say, y'all, don't join the bandwagon because you're destroying your whole family line. You destroying your finances. They was working witchcraft against my finances. Working witchcraft. So, like I had a little eBay store. They worked against the witchcraft against it. But see, I had to know who was doing the witchcraft. And then God began to show me who was doing the witchcraft. So when he began to show me who did the witchcraft, then I began to war. See, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior in the spirit as well as the natural. That's who I am. But listen, you all have a nice day. But I just want to say, guys, don't join the bandwagon people. Don't believe everything people say about somebody, and I think about him. He allowed somebody else to lie to him about me. Then he turned rogue on me over a lie. He destroyed his whole family over a lie. His whole foundation over a lie. But that's because his deeds was evil. So, it is what it is. And you know what? And I'm glad I had that experience because I'm able to help a lot of people. A lot of people. It brought my um the people that I can talk to. And I want to say this. They still call themselves shadow banning and all this other stuff, but it's called digital footprint. And they so smart. They did stuff to try to set me up for crime that they committed, get my stuff and plant it and all kind of stuff. All this stuff, and God's showing me like they doing this, they doing that. And I just shake my head. I'll be like, oh my God, these people are just so stupid. The level of ignorance is just unbelievable dealing with these people. Because they was able to get away with it with other people. So they tried all that they did with other people. They tried that on me. But all they did was block their whole life. They blocked their money. Some of them, oh, I own my house. You own your house now, but you're not going to own it later. Oh, I own my car. I own this. I don't care what you own. You ain't going to have it. Everything that you call yourself building off of me and my kids, you're going to lose everything, including you, Donald. You are too. That's why y'all in debt now. Oh, I want to all buy this and buy that. What is that? What's that for? That sign, to me, when I see people like that, that's sign of ignorance. One must pay all this money for something. Then some of y'all call yourself investing, inside trading. Y'all going to lose that too. Ain't none of that stuff going to prosper for y'all. While you still sitting there, Donald, waiting for all this big money to come in and all this, none of that stuff working. Ain't nothing. I'm telling you now, you all can write this down today and date it and time it. Ain't nothing coming. You know that, a new beginning, a new whatever y'all call, new fresh start or whatever. Ain't none of y'all. Not a single one of y'all that's in this mess. Ain't none of y'all gonna get nothing. And see them fraudulent companies and all this false this and false that, insurance policy, all that. And y'all plan on killing people now for insurance money because y'all need money. So y'all gonna go out and kill somebody else. That's what y'all do. Y'all better be careful y'all don't have an accident on the way, you know? But see, y'all don't have no covering because when y'all go to the devil's side, the devil can't cover y'all. But listen, I'm not going to talk too long. You all have a nice day. And baby, please enjoy Donald. Y'all enjoy it. I'm sure the little babies all over the place. And then some of them, he think they ain't his. He want to think like he's special. Just pump babies out and just leave them. Just label everything, pop, 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 man and woman, and just get them pregnant and leave them. That ain't mine. Go in other people's relationships, sleep with the wife, or sleep with the husband, whichever one. He don't rather which he don't care whether man or woman, destroy their relationship. Oh, come take out to dinner. Oh, he like to wine and dine, y'all. He like to wine and dine. And send flowers, like he just, what they call it, Don Juan. He ain't ish. I'm not running up my credit cards. I'm not running up nothing. Living a lifestyle of ignorance. That's what I call that. All these fake businesses. Then dumb women, they get with him. He gonna destroy y'all. He gonna be stealing from y'all because he a goddamn thief. Listen, I'm going to let y'all go, baby. Y'all have a nice day, okay?